So, working on, turn the lights on real quick. Working on these speakers for Noah. It's a little bit of an extreme fit in here, truth be told. Anyways, we got a little mounting plate up there on that side panel that is bolted, and I can remove it. And then some 2-inch pipe. And then basically, I'm making a little bracket right now. This will weld on to the pipe and make it an assembly, and then this bolt, that little hole right there, will bolt to that little hole, like that. And then you just unbolt that, and then those 2 bolts over there, and then the whole speaker assembly just comes over and drops. So pretty cool. We're gonna have 2 speakers. I know it's a little bit tight, and it probably is a little bit tight, but I think we got a little bit room to play right there, and I think we make it work. Hopefully, hopefully we can make it work. But anyways, so yeah, I'm gonna do this, and then I also gotta do the other side, obviously, of course. But anyways, yeah, it's pretty cool, pretty nifty. But anyways, I'm going to trim this right here out. I'm not sure if I'm actually make it really smooth or not, but I'm definitely gonna at least just kind of shorten it a little bit, and then get the hole drilled, and then maybe just kind of notch the top a little bit. That way, I have a little bit more play for adjustment. Even though there's not gonna be that much adjustment because that hole is really small in the mounting bracket up here. But yeah, pretty cool. And then after we do that, we've got still all the other stuff I gotta do yet that I haven't done at all. But I gotta make a camera port right here. But yeah, but time to start grinding this thing out and get this thing going. So I will come back once I get at least probably this assembly done. So see y'all then. I spy with my little eye autism in its best form. Dude, what the actual flying shit? Well, the first set of speakers are installed. I don't have enough pipe to do the other side, so rip. And I'm waiting for more speakers, also rip. But this is pretty much the design is pretty much figured out at this point, I think. Let me go give y'all guys a tour. You know what I'm saying? So right now they're in their closed formation, but they're really stacked up, and they're kind of tucked in this line and trying to stay inside the line of the headache rack kind of thing. Obviously, we've got all this room to slide over, and we can shift all these over this way. We're pretty much limited to about this extension down this way because of obviously the actuator. So we can't really go any further this way with the actuator installed, but I think it's fine. So basically, here all the way down to about this point, we have all that range, and it's removable, I think, hopefully, which is cool. That way we can take them off and stuff, which I don't know why you'd want to take them off, but yeah. Anyways, it's just pipe, 2-inch pipe. Got it out of Riley's. Again, it's welded on a little plate that bolts to the side panel, which is very cool. That's 2 bolts. There's 2 bolts in there, and then there's this 1 bolt. There's a tab right here that's welded into the main shell, and then there's this big plate right here that obviously the pipe's welded to, and then this just bolts to that tab right there, if that makes any sense. But yeah, these are 6.5 MB quart Wake Tower speakers. They're rated at like 60 RMS, but they sound really good. They sound very, very good. I had them powered up to a Kenwood. I can't remember what the exact model is, but it's a Kenwood Marine Power Sports amp. It's like 50 RMS at 4 ohms, or like 150 at 2, or by 2 channels at 4 ohms as well. But I figured he's running at 50 RMS. But anyways, these 2 at 50 RMS each sounded like $1 million. And these things have titanium, I believe, titanium, or it could be aluminum, but I think it's titanium. Dome, inverted dome tweeter, I think. And then obviously just propylene cones. But they sound good. They're not lit up or anything. I think you can buy rings for these things, but there's really no room for them, and it's fine. I don't really care much for the lights on these things anyways. But yeah, so we'll have 2 here, 2 here, and we probably have room for 2 in the middle if we really want to, but I don't really know why you'd want that, because I think these would be just fine. But yeah, so let me back up a little bit here and give you all the... So that's what it looks like. They're kind of surprisingly hidden. I ain't gonna lie. Like I mean, you can see them, and like yeah, it's all. I mean, you can see them. I mean, like if you know they're there, yeah, you're gonna see them. But if you get over here, and that notch, you can definitely see them. But they really kind of blend in. And what's crazy though is, well, from the side you can see them really obviously. But what's crazy about it though is from inside where you sit, the height the seats are, you can't even see them. Like they don't even affect your line of height. Because I don't know if you remember, like when we were doing this originally, trying to design this stuff, pretty much here and below is the actual, like what you see when you're sitting down in this thing. That's what you're looking through. You're looking through this. You're not looking through this because this is uncomfortably high to look up. So all your stuff you need to see is here. But you literally can't see these. Like in the rearview mirror, you can't see them at all because I guess the louvers and stuff, it's like the perfect height because it matches the louvers. But it's crazy. But anyways, that's what we're working with. It looks very cool. I love how this started out as a kind of a I love how this entire ordeal, but the speakers especially, kind of started out as a joke. Like oh, I'm gonna put speakers on my thing, like wakeboard speakers, like what the hell, you know, like whatever, you know, and then now she's actually got speakers on her show, which is like just, I don't know, it's interesting. But anyways, peek the CB antenna, that's really protrusive. But anyways, yeah, and I was gonna do this little camera mount down there below that light bar, but I'm gonna wait till I actually have the camera, because I'm not sure I might be able to just put it kind of between the clearance lights and then actually, and so yeah, we'll wait until tomorrow until we get that camera to do that. But pretty cool though, pretty cool. I might start trying to do a little bit of wiring. I'm not sure just yet. Probably thinks don't really worry about doing wiring, but then also probably thinks to do a little bit of wiring and start trying to route conduit and stuff for everything and see what happens. But anyway, just wanted to show you all the speakers. I thought that was kind of cool. Definitely a kind of just I don't know, next level. This really is going to be a jack of all trades, headache rack, chase rack, whatever you want to call it. But yeah. I'll see y'all guys later. Thanks. Peace. So, about to call it a night for tonight, but finally got the clearance lights drilled out. This is what it looks like. It's that side one. It's just same exact light style as the clearance lights on the back. But anyway, so that's the wing light, and then these are the 5. You can see got all those. So pretty cool. This, I think now, I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure at this point we just need to grind the welds on this, and then do a little bit of sanding and cleanup. And then I want to do some research on the teardrops for the wind, to help the wind noise. On a lot of vehicles, on the mirrors, on the rearview mirrors, on the side mirrors, there's little teardrops, or basically just little bumps on the smooth plastic, and I think that's what helps diffuse a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit of air noise, of wind noise. So I want to try to do a little bit more research tonight and figure out if there's a specific design or spacing that works So we might do a little bit of teardrops on the main edges to try to help with the wind noise. But aside from that, it's pretty much ready for final touches, I say. I say that kind of like this, like I kind of want to weld on the lettering like I did on the front. Just little Easter eggs, if you call them, if you will, just, certain spots, and like an infinity sign, just kind of stuff like that where it's kind of hidden. I want to do little stuff like that, little words and quotes and whatnot on the backside and stuff. Kind of what I've always done. But on the main wing, this is fully ground and polished, so to speak. It's ready for paint, essentially. I was gonna put some Bondo on these welds, but then I realized, I was like, there's diamond plate, so then how would you, sand the diamond plate? So I think on the diamond plate pieces, we're not gonna do any Bondo at all. We'll just kind of let it be rough and whatever, and rugged. And then on the smooth parts, we will do Bondo, and we'll do a lot more, primer, blocking, and all that good stuff. But essentially, though, this is ready to go. It's been degreased. Said it's been polished. The edges are all smooth and soft. Yeah, so this is ready for primer, essentially. Ready for primer, ready for paint, essentially. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And I'll probably do those other little pieces like the ports. You see over here. I'll do these little wings tomorrow. Get these ready for primer. At least get them in primer, at the very least, and like the ports as well. Like our main ports. Get these, grinded out and smoothed up, and get these ready for primer as well. And then that might be a good way of I can get the wings in primer while the Bondo's working on this, and then go back and forth. But yeah, so that should happen tomorrow, hopefully. I gotta do a few little welds here and there just to kind of fill little gaps and little kind of cut marks, if you will. But yeah, it's we're getting very close, very, very close. We're getting extremely close, some might say. But yeah, and then so that's that. And then if I walk over here, I still got to, on the headache rack, I got a lot to do on the headache rack and stuff, and on this interior stuff, we got a lot to do on this. We still got to mount the wing lights, the clearance light in here, and in there, and then as well as potentially, we don't know yet, make a standalone brace just for when it's like in this configuration, there's no shell, it's just this configuration. That potentially might be something we do, I don't know yet. But also I've got to do these. I got to cut holes somewhere in here, probably, to put these. And yeah, these Sylvanias. I did a lot of testing. I ordered literally like 5 or 6 different lights like this. Like I ordered night light, aux beam, co-light, just every freaking light cell they had. Some flush mount, some pods. We've got a lot of history of pods on our vehicles. We don't do much flush mounts. So these actually be the first flush mounts I've ever done, I think. Now I think about it. But anyways, we did a lot of testing on these things, a lot of kind of scenario lighting events, and the Sylvanias worked the best. They were the best beam pattern, the best output, the best, just best everything. They're expensive as all hell. They come solo. They don't come. You can't buy a pair. No, of course not. You gotta buy them, one piece at a time. But anyways, yeah. So we'll run Sylvanias, which is cool. We'll run them probably like that, something like that, I imagine. But of course, flush mounted. And then I don't know. I'm still debating. We might do something in the middle. I need to check the regulations, the TxDOT regulations. I'm trying to remember if it's required to have an actual central third brake light or clearance light for Class A vehicles. I think this Ranger is considered a Class A vehicle. I might be wrong about that, but I don't know. A lot of farm trucks around here
have headache racks that have these lights, and you can't see the third brake light at all because it's a freaking headache rack and forward flatbed and stuff. So I mean, but they do have these kind of these side mount lights, I call them, and you don't see any problem. But I don't know if that's I don't know if Class A vehicles are exempt from that, or how that works. I need to do some research tonight too to figure that. Because if not, because if we do have to have one, we'll just put another one of those little center small little halos we're going to use for all the other ones in the middle, just to have the third brake light if we have to have that. But hopefully we don't. But anyways, so gotta do that. Obviously, gotta do a little latch lock thing, which I'm pretty sure is going to be some bolts with a nut welded on the C channel or C iron, and then just that way we can just screw a bolt into it, just from both sides, just to secure this, to keep it from flopping up, even though it's pretty strong. But just gotta do that. And then as well as we gotta make our main headache rack brace support that goes in the bottom of the bed and supports it. But aside from all of that, and I'm sure there's a million other things that I'm forgetting, I think we're getting close. I'll probably try to just start doing stuff, start painting stuff and priming stuff, and working and stuff, kind of as I can as I go. That way it's not all at once, because if I had to do all these pieces at once, it'd be a shit show, and the paint booth is not that big. So I'll probably try to do the wings, or the wing and the port, and just kind of those small pieces, whatever I can get done tomorrow. I'll try to get those primed tomorrow night before I leave. And like these, I'll get these. I'm gonna try to get this little done, this little hole, whatever I'm gonna do here. I'm gonna try to get that done. That way I can get these and primer at least sealed. Because that's the main thing. I mean, once I get the metal, ground and kind of polished, so to speak, and ready to paint, your time's really limited before it starts rusting again. Then you gotta do it all over again. So as long as I get them in primer, they'll be good. You can put them in primer; they can sit for 20 years. It's fine. But I just gotta get them in primer. So I think we'll try to do these kind of in separate pieces, and then maybe might do the wings. These wings by themselves, because there's gonna be a lot of priming and blocking on these, just because I want to make these side panels really clean looking. So I suspect there'll be probably several prime and block sessions on each of these. And the headache rack I'm not too worried about. We'll probably just DA with some 80 grit, and put some primer on it, one coat of primer, kind of do a rough Matco or Caliber DA block sand, and give her the beans, so to speak. But anyways, lots got done today. A lot didn't get done today, but a lot got done today. More got done today than today than it has in the last few months. So we're happy with the progress we did. But anyways, I'm gonna call it a night now, since it is literally, let's see here, what time is it? It's 11:40, which isn't that late, but it feels late. But yeah, I'm gonna go, and I'll bring you back tomorrow, hopefully when I'm getting that thing ready for Bondo at least, or if not primer for those small little pieces. But yeah, so I will see y'all later. Peace. So guys, it's been a while working on the shell again, trying to get it finalized. Doing the final touches, conduit, main thing right now. You can see I've got some main pieces of conduit running for our wing lights over there as well. There you go. I've got a bunch of these cut out. These basically are like 5 inches. They'll go pretty much right there to catch on this side of the rail, to catch this wire and our chase light wiring, as well as potentially the actuator wire. And then we'll basically just do run the wires just over the little bump, and then we'll do it like this as well, and then just that way we can get on the inside of this rail. Not the best way to do it. Probably want to cut a hole in this, but I figured there'll be enough stuff going on here. I think it'll be protected with the speakers and everything. I think it'll be fine. So we'll just kind of just loop it over the angle iron, that way the angle iron's not compromised on, and we'll just route it like that. So basically we do that though, and then let me see if I got here. These are like 16-inch pieces. They will basically sit like that. Mind you, the headache rack is pretty much on this line, so we'll have to kind of space it out accordingly. But this will basically run the wiring from the center wing part. So our GM SAR antenna radio wire, as well as some of our tail lights and clearance lights. Like these wires, that'll all be through these holes, as well as the solar panels. And then we'll have 2 of those, like so. And actually, I can kind of lay this out for y'all, if you have a better idea. Basically, it'll be pretty much like that, essentially. And then we'll have a few more of these as well that will go from right here to connect to get this wire as well as these, because these will be routed probably around here, I would imagine, or through here. And then I've got these. These are some same conduit, just really small. I figured I'd just put these kind of randomly to help just route wire. Just route wire, something like that, just to kind of easily be able to either route the wire through it or zip tie something, just, make it easy to, route wire, essentially, basically is all it's going to be. But anyways, we just kind of, little small pieces of conduit. As well as all my conduit, I'm trying to do like that, where it's kind of elevated like this. That way you can still put zip ties around the conduit to route some wires. Some wires obviously will fit inside of it, but other wires, like the antenna wire for the GSMR and CB, have that big old, screw-on prong that won't go through this conduit. So we'll just zip tie it, and that's why we got these gaps here. We can allow the zip ties to go through, and we'll do that for all the other conduit as well. And if not, we'll use these just as like a zip tie place for the zip ties to go, basically. But anyways, that is pretty much what I'm up to. Still got to do some wiring from over here as well. Some conduit from over here for the front facing clearance lights. And then also need to do some conduit in the vertical runs of each side of the headache rack. I'm going to figure out some way to route it on the bottom down here to go into the bed, into the kind of control box and stuff. But that's still I'm still trying to figure out the best way to do that. But yeah, so anyways, just wanted to show y'all that. It's been a while since I've worked on it and or done a video on it, so just want to give y'all kind of a rough idea of what I'm working with and how I'm trying to, my thought process behind it, I guess. And like stuff like this, I'll probably put something like that, like kind of right between this hole and here, just to kind of help route wires and hold wires up. But yeah, anyways, I'm gonna start trying to get these things cleaned up and fitted and get a few more pieces cut for here and over there, and then obviously over here, and then yeah, we'll go from there. So this is the rack. After this is on its second coat of primer, or a second cycle of primer, I should say. We did 4 coats of primer on the first coat. On the first one, blocked it. Then this is a reprime. This is a reprime, another 4 coats. And then we still had a few little low spots. So we got some glazing putty right now on there to kind of help fill those spots that aren't going to block out. So I'm thinking about once we get everything else is pretty much smooth. I mean, you can see there's a little bit of just kind of I guess just kind of what would the word be, but kind of bumps and just little blemishes here and there. But again, for what we're working with, it's fine. I think it'll be perfectly fine. And plus the metal is so thick. I know a lot of guys saying, well, you can't have that much metal build a primer, it's going to do all this stuff. And that might be true, but this is a lot more heavy of a metal, so it's like 1,000,000 times more stable than regular sheet metal. So, you know, that's not going to be as big of a concern. And plus, we're letting it dry out. I mean, the first coat of primer probably sat for about 2 weeks before we even cut it. And this primer's been on here for about a week, and we haven't even cut it yet. So, so it's I'm pretty confident, and it's going to be pretty stable, I think. I'll take a seat here. But anyways, you can see these lines aren't as pretty as I really want them to be. I want them to be a little bit better than that, but it's kind of hard to see it with this right now. But when you have the wing on here, it's going to kind of shadow a lot of this, and of course on the truck itself, how it sits, it's not going to be as big of a deal. You can see we still got a little bit of a blemish right here. We can see where that, you know, obviously that original plate is outlined. I could have ran the Bondo out and filled it out more to make a true edge, but I kind of just didn't. But I think it'll be okay. I think it'll turn out alright. Anyways, got this. Of course, the diamond plate being diamond plate, the flat side has ribs. You can see those ribs. It's evident right there. You can see it, and you see these ribs kind of running horizontally from left to right. That's just from where they stamp the diamond plate, I guess, or when they make it. So of course all this had ribs, but we got that skim coated and primed, and now you can't really see it. Especially like right here too. These had really obvious ribs, but now they're blocked out and you can't see it. Same for here. You can see we've got, this isn't a primer, I promise. This is just some gouging. I didn't really do a very good job of grinding with the metal to grind the metal out, but of course this will be covered up and shadowed so much by, well, one, the shell, the wing, the camera, and of course the lights. So I'm not exactly worried about that, but that is something that I should have done a little bit better job on, but I didn't because I got lazy. But again, here's the other side. Again, you can see that you get that same little outline. You can see right where that metal did end. But anyways, that's there. Let me see here. Again, this was a side we were having a lot of problems with. We had some low spots here and here and here, and then a little bit right there. When we were blocking out, I couldn't get it blocked out enough. So that's what this putty is for. I'm gonna do a spot prime. I'm gonna prime just this little section here, and then we'll burn it back in. But yeah, so that, of course, this line is probably worse than the other line, especially right by that hinge. You can see that's just kind of washed out, which is kind of annoying, but I could have done a better job, but I just didn't do a very good job building that line up. But this line, I'm pretty proud of this line. You can see it's a little bit kind of wobbly side, but remember the metal does have a pretty good arch, so I'm pretty proud of this. I think it turned out very good compared to what it was looking like. Of course, yes, it's artificial. It's definitely an artificial bulge and kind of curve to it, but it is what it is, and I'm happy with it. Of course, this is a pretty good line, which this is easy line to do, but it's pretty good. This surface right here, this face all the way down was perfect. It was literally perfect. It doesn't really look perfect when you look at it because the primer, but when you're blocking it, it's literally perfect. I mean, you know, 2 passes with a block, and it's uniformed, no high spot, no low spot. It's amazing. I don't know what the hell I did here different, but it worked great. Obviously in here you can't, it's kind of hard to get to, but this right here, yes, there's gonna be a little bit of a lip right here. Not too worried about that, but that is gonna be something there. You can see we still got a few little pinholes that I did not get filled, but I'm gonna go back with some glazing putty and try to fill those. But again, I'm not too worried about it, but never good to have pinholes in your bodywork, so definitely something I gotta work on, because that's not cool. That will not pass in automotive stuff. So anyways, yeah, pretty good, pretty proud of it. But anyways, this has been most of my time. I still gotta do the wings and the headache rack. Of course, right now I'm working on the headache rack and mounting all that and trying to figure out the entire orientation of all that. It's kind of a shit show, but I'm trying to figure that out. And then, yeah, but just getting pieces by piece in primer, ready for paint. Taking some time, but it's coming along. So now we've got a deadline too. So we've got a deadline now. So this is all gotta be done by August, which is doable, but it's gonna have to step my game up. But anyways, so I'm going to get this blocked out, get it reprimed, and then I will come back once I have something else to show y'all. So thanks for watching, and I will see y'all guys later.